This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Do you have a point of sale system you can trust, or is it a real POS? You need Shopify for retail. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify POS has everything you need to sell in person. Go to shopify.com/system, all lowercase, to take your retail business to the next level today. That's shopify.com/system.
Ever have one of those weeks where there's too much news to talk about? So much action in our streets, the hotels, at the Speedway, at the Sphere, and in the courts. Today on CityCast Las Vegas, I'm joined by my co-host Sarah Lohman and CityCast producer Layla Muhammad, and we're going to get into some of it, including the Culinary mini strike at the beleaguered Virgin Hotel and why the union has unendorsed candidates they've previously endorsed, what a new U.S. Senate bill means for Yucca Mountain, and finally, how locals can navigate around the Electric Daisy Carnival madness that brings hundreds of thousands of partiers to our humble little town. It's Friday, May 17th. I'm David Figler, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Well, first off, welcome to all our new listeners. There are a bunch of you. And a big howdy also to the folks hearing us right now on KUNV Radio, where we rebroadcast over the weekend. If you want to check out all 500 of our episodes, you can go to lasvegas.citycast.fm. They're all there. And speaking of howdies, hello to you, Sarah and Layla.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, like I said, so much news this week. We had a hard time figuring out which ones, but there was a historic culinary strike at the Virgin Hotel, and also a very unprecedented unendorsing of candidates. Sarah, tell us about what happened.
All right. First culinary union strike in 20 years.
Yeah.
So you'll probably remember that last year, culinary and bartenders unions, they voted to authorize a citywide strike. And it didn't happen. It was the strike was averted. Basically, it's all about that these workers want new 5-year contracts with the casinos on Strip and off. So although all of the other casinos have negotiated new contracts, one has not, the Virgin Las Vegas. The contract expired June 1st, 2023, so it's been almost a year that these workers have been without a new contract, and they kept giving strike deadline extensions February 2nd, then March 9th, and then finally they said, okay, we're doing it. So from May 10th at 5 a.m. to May 12th at 4:59 a.m., all of the workers in the hotel were on strike. Okay, not every single one, but housekeeping, a majority of the restaurants, sort of all the people who make the Virgin tick.
I think the bartenders and cocktail servers as well.
Yes. And basically the Virgin wasn't even accepting reservations for their hotel that weekend. I don't know what happened to people who already had reservations. I assume that they were canceled. So talks have resumed as of Tuesday. People are back at work, and also the unions and Virgin are seeking a new 5-year contract. And they're talking about it this week.
Yeah, I think the property stayed opened so they could show that they could do that. And it wasn't like what we consider to be a long, enduring strike. It was like a mini strike, which to me sounds like a mini stroke. It's like still bad, but you can recover from it. I don't know. Maybe that's a little harsh. But Layla, what did the strike accomplish?
I mean, it was a 2-day mini strike. I mean, they still had events with the Kardashians, so I'm not really sure what the strike accomplished if they got a new contract out of this.
They haven't yet, essentially. Like, it's resumed talks. I think it's more about the fact that Culinary hasn't struck. Culinary hasn't had a strike in 20 years. And so I think that there maybe was a little bit of like, they would never strike. So they're showing that they can and will. And I think for a lot of the workers, it was sort of a scary situation. I mean, certainly you're walking away from wages there. And, if we're talking people on housekeeping staff, like the union is really protecting their livelihood, but it's a risky situation. So I think it was proving, we can screw you over. We are that powerful. So let's sit back down at the table.
But only for 48 hours. I mean, there's a strike fund, and there's been a lot of criticism that the union isn't really ready financially to do a legitimate, enduring strike until they get what they want. I think maybe more, like you said, Sarah, it's definitely a flex of power. We can strike. We're not telling you if we can strike for 2 years. We're just showing you a little preview what it's like. But who comes out of this weekend looking good or bad, with the exception of the Kardashians? I mean, they crossed the picket line. Well, which Kardashians crossed the picket line, Layla?
It was Kylie and
and Kendall, her sister.
Jenner's,
I think they were promoting some new alcohol brands that both of them have their own because both of them need one. But I wonder if the Culinary timed their strike for that event or knowing that event came because they have threatened strikes for bigger events. And that strike fund that you mentioned, David, that's to help the workers who are striking and call out of work still pay their bills and make a livelihood.
Yeah. And so it was maybe no risk, a little bit of theater, which I often criticize Culinary for, even though I think, like a lot of people, believe in the cause that workers absolutely need to be paid a fair wage, to have a certain degree of security, and to definitely have safety and protections.
Listen, Virgin, get it together. I mean, this is very much my opinion, but I've heard a lot of things about the behind the scenes there, and they seem to be kind of a mess. So when I found out that this was the last casino that hadn't created a new contract, I was kind of not surprised. I don't understand exactly what's going on over there at the management level, but it doesn't seem to be working out for anybody.
Which is so disappointing because as a customer of the Virgins, I always recommend that hotel. And I love that property. I love the pool. I love the venue, 24 Oak or 24 Oakford or whatever the smaller club venue is, and the theater there. I personally love that property. So I really hope they do get their management stuff figured out.
And I should say, too, that all of my interactions with people in hospitality there have been chef's kiss. Lovely people, incredible service, just like kindness and joy. So people are really working hard over there.
You know, but then again, sometimes you do walk into the Virgin Hotel and, I mean, you could swing an entire Kim Kardashian skincare regimen around your head and not hit anybody. I mean, it's not a vibrant property, but it's definitely posturing, and they are going back to the negotiating table, so we'll see if it has any impact. But also, talking about impact, the other part of Culinary's kind of action this week was they de-endorse some candidates. Tell me about that part of the Culinary adventure.
So, this has to do with SB 441. This is a law that sunsetted a COVID precaution of requiring daily room cleanings in hotels. Now, Culinary seemed to like this original passing of law during COVID. It guaranteed work for their housekeepers, more money, more tips, more hours. But it was always designed to go away at the end of COVID. So the candidates who were state legislatures and one county commissioner, all Democrats, that Culinary has unendorsed were Democrats who voted to pass SB 441, therefore sunsetting that earlier daily cleaning law. And if you look at, they are crossed out in red in their 2024 primary endorsement guide.
Right.
And I did open the guide. It's a really angry, meh, take that. So I don't know, but they're still there. They could have made a whole new graphic. So maybe it's a little still vote for these pro-labor Dems, but we're mad.
I think the crossing out was definitely sending a message and maybe them flexing their power again. Like, hey, we endorsed you and we can take it back.
I read a quote from John Ralston, who many people know is kind of like the preeminent pundit of all things Nevada politics. Here's what he said about the Culinary de-endorsement. Quote, "I have never seen any organization do something like this. This isn't scorched earth, it's destroy the planet. This is over a bill that never should have been brought and should have been, as it was, part of contract negotiations." So do y'all think that the Culinary here is, I don't know, overreacting?
I think it could be an overreaction because then this could cause the candidates to react to Culinary and just, make that scorched earth that Ralston is talking about and really destroy Culinary's reputation.
I don't know. I don't really know what the tactic here is.
Yeah, I mean, are they playing checkers? Are they playing chess? Are they playing Go Fish? I mean, why wasn't this in their front of mind when they made these endorsements earlier in the year? They knew that these are the people who voted, in a way they didn't like.
Yeah, I don't know, but the risk is definitely that Culinary could lose those races, right? And that demonstrates that they have less power in the community and for their union.
Well, what do you mean lose the races? Like those people win and then they're like, ha, Culinary, you're not as important or powerful as you thought you were?
Lose the races for the candidates that they want to win and lose the support of the candidates that do end up winning because, well, we won now, but you de-endorsed us, so we don't support Culinary anymore. Like the overreaction could go both ways.
I don't know. I'm curious what they're saying, like behind closed doors to their union members about who to vote for or not vote for. If it's all for show and they're saying, yes, they'll vote for these people, I don't know. I don't think it is known.
Well, whatever game is being played, I don't know that anyone knows the rules, but I guess we'll find out how it ends soon enough.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Do you have a point of sale system you can trust, or is it a real POS? You need Shopify for retail. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify POS has everything you need to sell in person. Go to shopify.com/system, all lowercase, to take your retail business to the next level today. That's shopify.com/system.
All right, let's move on to the second subject. The waste dump that never goes away, Yucca Mountain. What's the latest development, Layla?
Yeah, so our two Democratic state senators, Jackie Rosen and Catherine Cortez Mastow, introduced a bill that would repeal the law that establishes Yucca Mountain as a nuclear waste repository. Yucca Mountain is 90 miles northwest of Las Vegas, and in the 80s was proposed as a nuclear waste deposit to kind of help the long-term problem of nuclear waste storage in the United States. And so these Democratic senators proposed a bill to not only repeal it, but would have people go in and look at different usages for Yucca Mountain, which could be a command facility or a scientific research center or maybe a military facility. Just looking at other usages for Yucca Mountain that would not bring nuclear waste to Nevada.
Yeah, I mean, this came out of like some comments, and we talked about it in depth on the podcast if you want to go back and listen to that episode with journalist Gabby Birnbaum. But, Sarah, you're relatively new to the community.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, with so many people like you who are new and don't know about the decades-long battle
Yes, I did not
against
until recently.
Yucca Mountain and putting the waste there, does Yucca even resonate with voters anymore or with new voters? Is this something that the senators taking a stance on impresses you, or what's your feels?
I think anybody is happy not to have nuclear waste stored 90 miles from their home. That's my hot take.
Yeah.
So yes. So maybe it's being dug up as a scare tactic to make them look good. But this did come up again recently in Congress, that it was sort of reproposed as a nuclear waste storage site.
A subcommittee, a couple of members of a subcommittee. And so Gabby Birnbaum said, it's probably not going to be that big a deal. And yet, here we are a couple weeks later. Not only do we have new legislation being proposed by our senators, but it's also injected itself into the Senate Republican primary, where all of the people are kind of like turning on each other over this one issue. And I'm just wondering, why is this issue so big?
It's super anxiety-inducing, because, we don't want to mess with nuclear waste. I don't think most of us even want it to exist. I'm even a little confused as why Yucca Mountain has to be used. We've also got a horrible history of, doing nuclear experimentation, storage, and mining on indigenous properties, on indigenous land. So, it's just a really sort of awful hot-button topic that, it doesn't surprise me that Nevada doesn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, and to be clear, Yucca Mountain is on federal land, but
I figured it's but I can't say the words. BLM land.
Yes.
But of course, that land is traditionally not BLM land.
Yeah, and to transport the nuclear waste, right, they would have to be railways on
indigenous land.
And protected lands. I mean, there was, a big push to designate a lot of those areas around Yucca Mountain, which was the maneuvering that the congressional delegation sort of engaged in to try to if you will, derail shipments for a long time. But now this is like a full-on assault on Yucca Mountain, saying we need to decommission this and end this forever. And both of our United States senators have decided that this is going to be where they're going to put some energies now.
Yeah, kind of taking licensing off the table.
Yeah, but do you think a proposal like this could even move forward in the Senate?
I mean, it hasn't worked before. They introduced bills in 2018 and 2019 that didn't go anywhere. So I'm not sure if it's going to go as far as they hope it would, or really take Yucca Mountain off the table for Nevada. Like, a lot of Nevadans wish it would just don't look at Yucca Mountain anymore. Just close your eyes to it.
Exactly. Like, let's just get it off the table entirely, which maybe is what has inspired the senators to put this bill forward. So we stop having this conversation. But definitely America has a long history of transporting hazardous materials through indigenous nations and being like, it'll be fine. Stop whining. And then it's not fine. See every pipeline in the upper Midwest.
And also big urban centers like Las Vegas, where hey, I wonder what's on those trucks.
Yeah. But the other side of this that some Republican committee members were in support of Yucca Mountain for was that they said, and of course science on both sides proves different things, but some Republican members are saying that having nuclear waste at Yucca Mountain could create a lot of jobs and have Nevada make its own energy and be self-sufficient in that way. And
awful.
I mean, economically,
I'm not yelling at you, Layla. Like, why do we want nuclear energy when we've got so much sun and so much wind? And also, it's frustrating because the other thing that happened when Avi Kwame was made a National Historic Monument, Lombardo was like, but I wanted to put solar panels there. Put them literally anywhere else. Like, we have so much space in this state. We don't want your nuclear waste. Build the solar panels somewhere else. Like, it's all crazy to me. It's this idea of like the land is here to be used as opposed to being appreciated.
Just a little bit of pushback on you, Sarah, is that there are people in like neighboring counties, Nye County, Lincoln County, who are like, fine, if we're going to make a ton of money for the storage, which is a reality. There would be a lot of money that would come to the community to store nuclear waste. Every state that creates nuclear power, and look, nuclear power is a viable, quote unquote, cleaner energy source than fossil fuel in a lot of people's mind. The stinky problem is, of course, all the waste that it creates, and what do you do with the waste? And none of those states, which are all likely to defeat this proposal from our senators, because they want to put it somewhere. And right now, Nevada seems to be the only target for disposal of this high-level nuclear waste. They're saying, look, it's going to come here some point. We might as well make the best deal, get all the jobs that we can, get all of the money for storing the country's nuclear waste, and we'll all be better for it. And that's where Sam Brown, who is one of the leading candidates for the Republican Senate candidate in this very, very important national race, that's where he's getting criticized. Like, that was his initial comments that he had made that are coming back now apparently to haunt him. So that's the question. Like,
seems like a bad deal.
Is there any kind of balance? How do you kill this zombie that just won't go away? I don't think it's this new Senate proposal, but maybe it's, again, like posturing.
I think certain people will make money. That's it. Like, you kill it by making sure that we're investing in sun and wind powered things. And even to say like, well, some people are in favor of these jobs, it's hyperbole. Like, show us the polling, show us the numbers.
Oh, I mean, like county commissioners in Nye have come out very publicly, Lincoln as well. I mean, that's always been sort of the rurals versus Clark County not wanting it to be transported through our community.
Yeah.
Layla, where does this all wind up? Is this just a perpetual issue for eternity?
I think the bill made a good step towards it, because licensing is like, just take licensing off the table for the Department of Energy. They can't license Yucca Mountain to do nuclear waste if that's taken off the table and it's not an option for a disposal site anymore. But I think it's important to note something that Gabby Birnbaum said during our episode earlier this month about Yucca Mountain, is that the infrastructure isn't there. And while there's a tunnel currently in Yucca Mountain, they don't have the facilities to host all of this nuclear waste. And the licensing itself would cost like $1 billion. So there's still a lot of money to be spent to even make Yucca Mountain an option.
Yeah, it's not going to happen anytime soon, but, federal government's already dumped billions into it, so it's not going away anytime soon either. All right, last topic. Electric Daisy Carnival. All right, for this story, I'm going to go straight to Wikipedia. The Electric Daisy Carnival, commonly known as EDC, is an electronic dance music festival organized and promoted by Insomniac. It is their annual flagship event, and it is held every May at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It is currently the largest electronic dance music festival in North America, the second biggest one in the world. There's ton of electronic music there, house, techno, drum and bass, dubstep. In addition to that, event goers can experience three-dimensional superstructures, these crazy things that I think you only see at Burning Man, but they're colorful, they're glow-in-the-dark environments, they're LED, flora and fauna. There's interactive art installations, free-roaming carnival performers, and carnival rides. For locals, it is the sweet, sweet invasion of often scantily clad young adults who may or may not be utilizing recreational drugs, but which most definitely show up when they test our city's sewage. But more than anything else, it's a fun party, and it draws maybe 500,000 people to Vegas for a fun time, which at the end of the day is what we're known to be a good place for. But also, we've kind of finally figured out after over a decade of EDC what this weekend means to the city. So, I don't know if many of our listeners are going. Are we going? I'm not going.
Layla, you going?
I'm not going this year. I went 1 year. I had a VIP wristband, so it was like the best experience I could have had. But I stayed until sunrise, and I wanted to kill myself. I'm not even gonna.
Oh my God!
It was a lot. It wasn't for me.
Your sister's going to be there, I bet. We did.
Yeah.
If people want to know more about the ins and outs of EDM and EDC, we
And
did
the
a whole
rave
episode
scene in
on
general,
this on the rave
right?
scene. Yeah.
Yeah, my sister's been going for like 10, 11 years
She
to
loves it.
this EDC, Las Vegas's EDC. And it's honestly, my time there, the beginning part was really fun, but once it hit like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., I think I hit a wall and I was like, okay, I'm ready to go.
And yet you stayed.
What are the best tips to avoid the madness and still enjoy our first hot weekend? So, like, how do we maneuver around EDC, or how does it impact our lives?
Well, I'm planning on going a few places this weekend. Like the Mirage just announced that it was closing, and I have a personal connection there, so I want to go visit there.
Memory walks.
Yeah, I'm going over to Vegas Unstripped at the Palms, and those are pretty far from Henderson, so I will be, driving and traveling. And something that I said I will not do this weekend is take any Ubers or Lyfts. Like, I will have a designated driver if I'm drinking anywhere, because it's just those surge prices really do get crazy. And that's gonna be like from the airport and around the Strip and probably all over Vegas, because those EDC, that 500,000 people, some of them are probably going to be in Airbnbs in Henderson and Summerlin. So I would say really try to avoid Uber and Lyft this weekend.
That's actually a great point, because I am actually flying out tonight. I'm avoiding it by I'm going to Cleveland to put in a flower bed with my mom at my mom's house. We're having our own Electric Daisy Carnival with actual daisies.
With actual daisies?
But I think my biggest... So actually, I was debating whether or not to drive myself to the airport or get an Uber. That's really good advice, Layla. But I think actually the main way to avoid the mess is, y'all, stay off the dating apps this weekend. They are not here for you. They are here for each other. It absolutely flooded with people who do EDC and Burning Man. So if that is your thing, go on. But that digital space is existing for EDC this weekend and not for locals. So just, sign out for the weekend. Give yourself a break.
And there's a lot of people coming in also for the Grateful Dead, the Dead and Company shows at the Sphere. So
David, I'm going to screen grab you the amount of tie-dye I'm seeing on the apps. It is.
I mean, it's the intersection of kind of the hippies and the ravers, but with the outrageous clothes and like the funkadelic freak flags flying.
Genuinely, I thought to myself, like, wow, this guy's really into tie-dye. And I'm like, oh, okay.
It's all here.
You can be into tie-dye.
Yeah.
But I think another thing that I heard my sister saying, because there are a lot of EDC like satellite events going on the strip in downtown. And so you will see that a similar crowd maybe if you're going downtown or out on the strip. My sister's carrying a thing of Narcan with her this weekend. If
She's
she
such a responsible
sees any,
raver.
if she sees any overdoses or anybody who's in need of help, she'll have that Narcan on her that helps for overdoses.
You know, maybe that would be a good thing for us locals to do this weekend too, is to go to a Narcan training session, because you should always have somebody in any crowd who is familiar with the usage, because, you know, there is a bit of a crisis out there. And we want to be able to help our fellow folk. So, you know, the other thing, though, is that I looked at the list of performers that were there, and I thought this might be a fun way to end the episode. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of acts that are going to be playing at the EDC. Here's some of the folks out there this weekend. You got your DJ Snake, Infected Mushroom, Crank Dat, one word, D-A-T, Crank Dat.
Wait, was DJ Snake, did anyone see that video of the man dressed as a snake on Fremont Street? I wonder if it's like a fan or if it's actually the dude. I just assumed it was another busker, but
I don't think that's DJ Snake.
I want it to be.
There's also a DJ named Mary Droppins.
Love that one.
I love that one too. All right. So to end this fun episode, this action-packed episode, what's your DJ name for EDC?
Well, I have one that I've been using since high school, and my DJ name is DJ Lazy. Anyone from my high school years.
How do you spell it?
LAY-Z.
Dropping the sleepiest beats?
Exactly, Sarah. Yes. Oh my gosh, that's my tagline. But I'm a sleepy person, so it just works out. Jay-Z, lazy, it fits. I love it, and it's like my persona. It's my alter ego?
Yeah.
DJ Lazy.
Who are you, Sarah?
Well, my DJ name would be a tribute to one of my favorite cats in the world. I follow a cat cafe in outside of Seattle and in Bellingham on Instagram, and one of their cats is named DJ Silly Goose. And actually, I have a DJ Silly Goose sticker right here to share with you. He's an orange cat, and he's really jamming with some DJ headphones on. And he's a real cat, too, with a real fat butt. And so...
With really fat butt beats.
Yeah, with really fat butt beats. So shout out to DJ Silly Goose and Neko Cat Cafe. You're both wonderful. And so mine would be a tribute to DJ Silly Goose.
So you'd be like the Remington Steele, the character who is named, and then you show up and you go, that's me. I'm DJ Silly Goose.
I'm not sure.
Or you can, there's a DJ called Marshmallow that wears like a giant marshmallow helmet.
Oh my God.
And you can wear a giant cat helmet.
Yeah,
I can picture it.
The sticker, so you can...
The sticker that you're showing would make a perfect DJ helmet.
Because, all of those, it's a racket. Like, there's multiple marshmallows and multiple...
I don't believe you.
Yeah. So then, Layla, sometimes you could go on for me instead. And I'll just take a 10%
big orange kitty
commission.
with headphones on.
All right, I've been carrying
cute.
around a name for a while, and I want to make it a whole thing. So the name is DJ Hap hyphen the letter N hyphen Stance. DJ Happenstance.
Happenstance?
And so he just happened to be there. Like, I happen to have a bunch of records. I'm happen to play them. And Stance would be like my stance the whole time. And Hap is like Hap. I got this whole thing worked out in my head, but I'd be DJ Happenstance. And then I would reach out for a promotional deal with the wonderful Stance line of socks and underwear.
Oh.
And so that'd be part of the incorporated outfit as well. Because I love that
your
brand.
DJ
I'm not getting paid.
your set would have to include some socks and underwear, David.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. I'm down. I'm ready. I am ready.
This sounds like a DJ that would play nursing homes.
Oh, that's
not
where I
that-
cut my teeth.
I mean, which I think
my false teeth. I cut my false teeth at the nursing homes,
There
and
you
now
go.
I'm ready for the big stage out at EDC. So next year, 2025,
Big retirement community in Vegas, too.
2025, look for DJ Happenstance. I'll be there.
retirement communities. Look, Layla is still going to want to rave.
I'm going to bring my crowd with me. My base will be there. They will all. You'll note them by
thought I would see.
their festive walkers.
You'll bring the retirees to E EDC.
I love
they're,
it.
They're also going to have, a lot of meds.
Maybe there's a different one for EDC. It's called Retiree. I don't know. I tried.
Well, the news certainly isn't going to show down, but I had a great time talking about this week's news with you, Layla, and you, Sarah.
Layla, since we have big DJ headphones on, can we do a little,
Yeah, we're dancing. We're pantomiming our DJ.
DJ
set.
Silly Goose?
I'm going to lay it down. Here you go.
Thanks, David.
That's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. Our producers this week were Sonia Cho Swanson, Layla Muhammad, and Noah Snyderman. Our newsletter editor is Rob Captrell-Reese, and our hosts are Sarah Lohman and me, DJ Happenstance, a.k.a. David Figler. Music is by OG Moose, Epidemic Sound, All the Kimonos, and again, me, David Figler. We record this show on the traditional homelands of the Nuuvi, the Southern Paiute people. If you enjoyed the show, hey, go tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. Keep on listening, too, to our Mayoral Mondays series. We've got 2 more candidate interviews lined up for this weekend. That race is heating up. So, till the next episode, stay lucky.
Are you telling me that there's going to be pelicans in the wash?
I'm
just
telling you, every
hugging
year
it
they
out?
test the sewage, and there is a shit ton of Molly, is what I'm saying, Sarah
Literally.
Lohman.
Oh, my
They're
gosh.
just there for the love.
Poor beavers.
They'll be fine.
Stroke my fur.
Time of
Stroke
their
my
life.
fur. Do
You've
we
seen
have
those photos.
beavers?
Yeah.
We have beavers.
Hundreds.
There's a beaver walk. Sarah went on it.
I did.